Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is Amanda. So today is the 28th, it's Tuesday. It's hammering down with rain here as I've started to record this in my car, but maybe that's symbolic in terms of the way that the world is at the moment. We are getting showered. What are we getting showered with at the moment? You know, it's like there's a choice there, isn't there? Are you choosing to feel that you're being showered with a load of pig excrement? Or are you choosing to believe that you're being showered with blessings? Can you hear me over the rainstorm? I choose to see the blessings and I choose to see the light in every single situation, because I just refuse to go down into that other path of blame, victimhood and negativity. Because I know where it leads, because I've already been down there, you know, over the years. I've been down there. I know where it leads. It leads to even more misery, even more negativity. What is happening now in our world, and I will talk more deeply about this in a longer video on YouTube in the next couple of days, is the collapse, and we've known this is going to be happening for decades, of old 3D society. Old structures, old institutions, old ways of doing things, they're all falling away to birth the new. And I think as a spiritual community, and I'm talking here the wide spiritual community, not just people that follow me, it's all been a bit abstract up to this point. And it's all been, you know, it's all sounded quite good in terms of what we're heading towards. And we all want the old structures to fall away. But then when they start to, that's when we get tested in terms of, okay, are you going to rise to this? Are you going to be able to stay in your heart and your truth and your strength? Or are you going to panic and go into massive fear? I will talk more about this in a longer video, but the fuel crisis that we have in the UK at the moment is a perfect illustration of what I'm talking about. Where we are heading as a world is into a fuel crisis. Now, you can either run to the hills screaming at that and go into panic, or you can start to see that the way that we are running the world, the way literally we are fueling the world, is not sustainable. There is a better way to do it. But are we ready to embrace it? Are we ready to even hear it? None of this is going to be easy. I hold the intention, and I ask you to hold the intention, that we as a species are ready for the change. We are capable of being able to adapt, that we won't resist the crumbling of the old. I was driving down my road yesterday. I've got half a tank of fuel left. After that, there is no fuel in this area. I mean, there will be at some point, you know, it'll get back to some sort of normal, but this is just a precursor of things that may very well start to happen on a pretty regular basis across our world, not just in the UK. I know there's a gas crisis coming as well. But I was driving down and because I've got fuel at the moment, so I thought, okay, I will go to the supermarket and, you know, buy my groceries, etc. But I saw all of the parked cars. And I'm sitting here in a car park and it's full of cars. And I was shown a world basically where these cars, including the one that I'm sitting in, actually become like old redundant dinosaur beasts. You know, it's like, because they're not moving anywhere, they're not going anywhere. How do we get from A to B? How do we get from the old way of transporting ourselves around the planet to the new way, and what does that look like? I want to channel Tesla very soon, very soon. He's coming, guys. He is coming. I've just actually conserving my own energy at the moment, excuse the pun, to be able to bring him through, because he's like the big guns. You know? Tesla always talked about the fact there was technology that was freely available for us to be able to get from A to B. Free energy, basically, free energy. At some point that will be instigated and it will come into being, hence the redundant dinosaur vehicles that we have here. I spent at least 5 years of my career, my old business career, working effectively for the car industry. How to sell more cars, how to make them more attractive. Do you like leather in your car, or do you like fabric? Do you like red? Do you like black? Do you want this feature? Do you want that feature? Does it make a difference if we do this or we do that? What do you think of this name for a car or that name for a car? What do you think about this advertising campaign? Who is this car aimed at? What is the stereotypical person that drives a BMW or a Ford or an Audi or whatever it is? You know, I have been as immersed in that whole industry as all of us, because we are all have been part of it. And I still quite like my car. I confess I still quite like my car. But ultimately, there's going to be a time and a place where we're not going to be using these things. We're just not. Now, whether it's in my lifetime or whether it's in my children's lifetime, it's certainly in my children's lifetime. I don't know whether it's in my lifetime. I've only got maybe, I don't know, 3 decades left, 4 decades, I don't know. 4, Metatron saying. You don't need to be any more specific than that, Metatron. Okay, 4 decades left. These changes are going to come in. They're going to come in. Again, haven't watched all of it, but I was watching a little bit of David Wilcock's latest video. He is walking the talk. He is building what he calls a hover car. I mean, the science and the technology is beyond my little mind to be able to even compute what he's really saying. But I am with him in spirit in terms of he's a visionary who's able to see that there is a better way of doing this. There's a better way of doing this. Watching what I did on his video, it was interesting that a lot of the people, they weren't able to listen at all. There was people, he was talking about really groundbreaking innovation and what he was doing, and he's built a great big hangar, or he's bought a big hangar where they're going to be building these craft. It's all sort of top secret, new technology that's coming into it. And people were saying, how do you get your teeth so white, David? And I'm like, oh my God, people are just like, it's just like, it's not about his bloody teeth. He's trying to deliver something here, which is leading edge, which is going to be the next step for humanity. And we're still into, you know, how'd you get your teeth so white? It struck me as well the last few days with this complete and utter panic that has gripped the UK over fuel. And I'm not even going to go there and say what I really think about all of that. I have just risen above it. And as I say, when my fuel tank runs out, it runs out and I'll just have to walk. And it's going to be a pain in the backside to walk and get my groceries, but I'll have to do it. There's no problem. 2 things. Seeing the way people panic just because of a couple of newspapers and newsreaders have basically said don't panic, and then people have completely panicked, and now all of the courts are dry. Can you imagine what would happen if actually we saw a UFO in the sky and it was real disclosure time? Because that's the technology that wants to come in. The galactics want to come in and help us in terms of how do you get from A to B. They are in craft which can travel faster than the speed of light. Okay, they can help us, but we're not ready for it. We are not ready for it. We're not even ready. Oh, anyway, yeah. I'm at a loss, to be honest, with how humanity is at the moment. And I'm sure many of you are as well, because the technology is there and it's so easy to blame them. You know, they are keeping this secret technology from us. Are we ready as a species to be able to shift and adapt and let go of let go of all this into something else? Because change is scary. Final thing I want to say today, and yes, again, on the fuel crisis here, this is a little story. One of the pictures in the paper was of a lady filling up her car, and she'd filled her car up, and then what she did was she went to the garage and she bought 2-litre big bottles of water, and she was emptying the water into a litter bin. So, you know, just emptying the water out and then filling these water bottles with fuel. So plastic, flimsy little bottles full of fuel. My husband just said, well, more fool her because she's got water in the petrol, so it's not going to work anyway. But anyway, that's what she did, okay? Totally selfish. I'm sorry, it just is, because if everyone just takes what they need, we wouldn't even have a crisis. But let's just take that lady who's done that. So she's got all that she needs and more. What happens if now her pipes burst in her house and a plumber needs to get to her? Or God forbid a member of her family has some sort of medical emergency and an ambulance needs to get to her. The ambulance hasn't got the fuel. The gas man or the waterman hasn't got the fuel to get to her. All of these things that are happening, even though they're really frustrating, they're trying to teach us something. They're trying to teach us that we're all in this together and that we all are going to have to learn to share. We're all going to have to learn to adapt. Can we do it? What do you think? I hope some of us say, well, even despite what we can see with our eyes, I believe that we maybe can. We've got to hang on to that, guys, because anything else, it's just we're going to be going round and round in these repetitive cycles and patterns of reliance on the old fuels, reliance on the old way of doing things. The technology that is there and literally hovering is not going to be able to come in because we can't change. The UK hasn't even been able to cope with, it's not even been a week. It's been a couple of days of a minister coming on and saying, don't panic, there's enough fuel, if everyone's just, you know, sensible. We haven't even been able to follow that command. Well, not everyone, a lot of people have panicked. And yes, it's unhealed base chakra, it's fear, it's wounding, it's survival. We have to be able to heal our survival issues, because if we can't heal the base chakra, how the hell are we going to, why do we expect all of the other chakras in the body to just light up like the fountain and the rainbow if we can't get off the base? We can't get from that place. Anyway, I'm steaming up now because my windows aren't open in the car and it's raining, so I'm going to have to turn my engine on. And I'm very aware I'm driving this thing. But what Metatron is saying is you need to we all need to start to get our head around the fact that this planet is going to change much, much more drastically than we think it's going to. And that the old ways of doing things, clunk, click, every trip, all of that stuff, UK reference, it's going to change beyond your wildest dreams. Those of us that are old enough, like me, I'm in my 50s, pre-internet, what sort of dinosaur does that make my generation that we remember pre-internet? And that's just a small little part of it. Get ready for the change, be willing to adapt, and hold the intention that we as a species are ready for it. Take care, everybody. Much love, and I will be back soon. Better drive home now. Soon it will be, I'll need to walk home with 10 bags on my back. But anyway, hey ho. We're all in it together, and we'll get through it all together. Love you. Bye.